Good evening and welcome. Today's top story. Educators are using an active teaching technique called reflection with new nurses to learn from meaningful experiences in their practice. Traditionally, reflection has involved a process called journaling. With journaling, the nurse writes down their thoughts and feelings from significant events to analyze the events and submits the journal entries to the educator for feedback. This process allows the newer nurse to associate what they have learned in the classroom environment to the real world, events that transpired in their practice setting. However, this process can be very time-consuming for both the nurse and the educator, and many new nurses may simply see this as busy work and not devote adequate time to these assignments. While the use of reflection to gain knowledge is not a new technique, some educators are using this process with new nurses orally and providing feedback quickly one-on-one with the nurse. We now go to Eddie at a local hospital to see how this process works. Eddie.
Thank you, Amy. Eddie Winslow here on location here at Brackenridge Hospital with Kristen Daniel, who's a relatively new emergency department nurse who had a pretty significant event recently. And what we're going to do here is we're going to discuss it a little bit and allow her the opportunity to reflect on her experiences. So Kristen, can you tell us a little about what happened today?
Well, I had a lady come in that looked like she had been beat up pretty bad. She had some black eyes and a broken arm, and her husband was with her, and she looked really, really scared. So I kind of thought that maybe he was the one who beat her up. So I told him he needed to leave the room, and he got really angry, but he left. And then when he left, she looked at me and said that, thank you, you just got me killed, because she's very afraid of her husband. So I feel really bad about that.
Wow, I bet you do. What happened after that? Did you actually see the husband again? Or?
I did not see him again.
No? Okay. Were you able to get her any kind of services or any support or any kind of...
I did call the social worker and made a note in the chart about what had happened, and I had the social worker come in and talk to her and try and maybe smooth things over with her and her husband.
Do you think, do you think what she said is true? Do you think when she goes home that's going to happen? Or were you able to maybe provide some protection to her or find some services to help her?
Well, I think due to what's going on with her today, that she'll probably stay in the hospital, so she'll be safe for a day or so, or at least while she's here. I think he's beat her in the past, was what my understanding was, and so I do think that could be a possibility. But the social services is working with her to give her pamphlets on safe place and how to get out of abusive relationships. And so hopefully she'll take that information that they give her to use.
It's a pretty incredible story. Did you, what were some things that, from what you remember, what were some things that clued you into the fact that maybe that he was actually assaulting her and you felt that you needed to intervene and provide some protection for her?
She looked really scared of him, and he was very overprotective of her, would not let her answer any questions, she wouldn't make eye contact with him or me, but he did all the talking for her and kind of was always between me and her and kind of gave a very ominous feeling, very like wanting his presence known.
How do you think maybe the events of today, how do you think it may change your practice in the future?
I think in the future, maybe I would take the patient to some place like maybe x-ray or CAT scan or ultrasound and just tell the spouse or whoever else is there that they can't go to that location, but they're welcome to stay in the room, and then get the patient away and maybe have a social worker intervene on my behalf, because they are trained to handle that situation a little better, but not have the patient's family or the suspected abuser leave the room, maybe just make the patient go somewhere else.
Okay. And then looking back at that experience, was there something other than, would you not maybe avoid separating the wife from the husband, the abusive husband, in a different way, or would you think you made the right decision by actually separating the two of them at some level, even if you took the lady to radiology and provided her services there? Do you think it will impact your practice in the future that you would not intervene?
No, I think that you should always intervene, or at least give the patient the option to seek help if she wants it. Give her a private place where she can get the information, and then she can do with that what she wants. But I do think that's important that she gets the information, no matter how receptive she is to the information.
Sounds like you really were able to think a lot about this and learned a lot from that experience.
I did.
And, All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Eddie Winslow signing off. Thank you very much.